My name is Janelle. I am 21 years old. No, I am a 21-year-old French girl. Sorry about my English. I'm a student in Lille, France. Tired of not finding true love, I decided to lose my virginity with my best friend. Then I find a fantastic sex friend with which I get along very wonderfully on all levels for 3 months. Then sounds the time to throw me because I still love my ex. Yes, I still have the senium, little fragile that I am. I make my first suicide attempt, go to the emergency and the mental hospital. For the smart ones among you, you will have understand that I was already in depression for a few months. Under treatment, with a strong penchant for alcohol to complete the auto-destruction mechanism. What better than dating apps? The match. A few weeks after my release from the mental hospital, I matched up to make new encounters and especially forget my dear and tender sex friend. I have always meet the guys at my home for a first date. Because I have zero experience, and that's what I did for my very first date. One fine day comes when I match a guy. Let's call him Matthew. Matthew is not very beautiful and has a few extra pounds, but I'm not Beyonce either. I'm not Beyonce either. So I match. We laugh a little. We have some common tastes, and especially he smokes weed. So I thought, perfect plan to smoke some joints between two fucks. He gives me some personal information like his address, no idea if it's the real one, and his job. Or rather, old job. He just got fired. Work or not work, I don't care. I don't want to do my life with him anyway. I explained to him that I am fragile and that I came out of a kind of mental clinic, that I am depressed, blah blah blah. It's all for the sole purpose of making him understand that you can't play with me. I also tell him that I'm looking for a sex session, but still with discussion complexity, hugs, etc., and not just a shot in 20 minutes and it's done. He assures me that this is what he's looking for too, and that he's actually very cuddly perfect. After only 1 or 2 days of discussion, we agree on a date, mojito party, at my house, and he brings some joints. Matthew arrives. He's really not cute, even worse than in the photos. He has a dirty look, like greasy hair, stained t-shirt, a style of a teenager who is still looking despite his 26 years in short. I am far from weathering my punches, but I desperately need company. I offer him to make the drinks while I choose to film on television. He runs and passes on the kitchen side to prepare 2 mojitos before joining me in the sofa. We talk a bit. He's not very smart or very interesting. I drown in my drink hoping to animate the party alone. And this is a 3-day blackout. According to our dear Matthew, we would then have drunk and smoked while watching a film before going into the bedroom. I vaguely remember being naked on the bed and seeing him dressed above me, looking at me before turning his heel and slamming the door. My phone is discharging. My alarm clock is not ringing. I am away from a work group appointment. So my friends are worried and call me, and then they contact me, so they contact my sister, but she's also gone. The voicemail. The girls come down from my house and ring again and again, but no answer. They call the fireman, who managed to open the bottom door, but not the door to my apartment. They knock on the door calling me, and ended up opening the door dressed in a blanket to hide my nakedness. I look at them with incomprehension. The fireman concluded that I'm hungover and break up. While my friends help me get dressed, they also think I drank too much. They notice that my body is covered with yellow betadine under my arms, legs, stomach, etc. I told them that I burned my arm yesterday and that I wanted to heal myself, but no sign of a burn or anything on my arms. Besides, I don't even own betadine. They take my cat and take me back to one of their houses, since I'm in a comatose state. I have trouble speaking. I look completely elsewhere as amnesia sides, and I even seem to have trouble thinking. The next day, my sister comes to pick me up so that I can stay with her for a few days. Everyone is convinced that I try to kill myself with drugs and alcohol. I start complaining about pain in the vulva and blood loss. My pills stop my period completely. So my sister takes me to the hospital, and I explain to them that I having a report may be unprotected since I was unconscious, AIDS vaccine, and anal, and vaginal samples, hair sample, etc. I'm advised to file a complaint, and I'm being redirected to OB emergency. The next day, I finally regain consciousness gently. My relatives see it right away. I'm a little more lively, my remarks consistent. Meet me in the GYN emergency. I get swabs done, and I get primitive AIDS treatment over the course of a week. I made a series of appointments for blood samples, urine samples, etc., and I went to file a complaint with the testimony of my friends who met me at home and my sister who took care of me. After talking about it around me to people my age, older people, but especially medical staff and the police, the term organ trafficking was more than mentioned. They think the guy chickened out at the last minute. Despite my complaint, my bed full of bitumen, my underwear torn off, and the blood on the doors of my apartment. What the fuck? My attacker got nothing, and I will never know what really happened and what he really wanted. I would like to point out that I used to drink and smoke in addition to my treatment, and that I never before I had a blackout of 3 days. I'm pretty sure he put something in my drink. It's good to talk about anyway. Thank you. Back when I was around 17 or 18, I would go out to parties with my friend at night. It was my best friend at the time, Ivan, and his cousin, Caesar, that would invite me out that fateful night. I had been talking to a friend of Ivan on Facebook about meeting each other, and since I really hadn't had much experience with girls, I thought it was now or never. This girl had a birthday party that day and invited all of us all to join her. So I took a bath, got ready, and my friends pulled up for me on a small car named Atos. That was really popular in Mexico in the early hundreds. Since it was small, it was really good at saving gas and not too expensive, so the perfect car for a college student. I said bye to my mom and got in. We went to buy beer for the night in the back of Smoke's room. And back then, I would smoke a lot. I still cringe about it, but it was a college thing, I suppose. My friend told us that he had been in contact with this girl on Facebook and that she accepted to come to the party with him tonight. We all were impressed and happy for him. We pulled to our house and parked near a parking space to wait for her. I remember a group of thugs walking around the park. No, we parked near a park to wait for her. I remember a group of thugs walking around the park, but since they seemed our age, we weren't too bummed out. My friend called her to come out, and my friend Caesar stepped out for a smoke. I was sitting in the back seat, not wanting to come out because of these guys outside. They seemed to be asking for trouble because they begun to argue about something really dumb with him. So my friend Ivan told me to step out just to have his back in case anything went down. I'm not particularly strong, but I'm almost 6 feet tall, and with a winter coat, I tried my best to appear tough enough for them to think twice. I lit a cigarette and pretended to be a tough motherfucker. Looked at a guy and laughed. Somehow it worked and they laughed. We went to the party and had a great time. I made out all night. The girl I was talking to and later even found out she had kissed pretty much every dude that was there before me. Well, nevertheless, I was still grateful for the opportunity and said goodbye with a long kiss. As we headed back to the house of my friend's date, she seemed very quiet. I knew that they had hit it off during the party, but now looked stiff. It even scared. My bud and I were riding in the back to let them have the front to themselves, but she was just nervously looking at her phone. When we arrived, she wanted to get out of my bedroom trying to score points and wait, I'll walk you in. She did not like this and said, just go. We were a bit buzzed in the back and wanted to have a smoke, so we all stepped outside and watched them go to her door. I remember laughing about something with my friend when the mood suddenly became so dark. She started screaming, "Go now, get out of here." A car pulled up nearly in front of us, and people with bats and blunt instruments got off so fast I barely remember how I got back in the back seat. The girl said something along the lines of, "Leave them alone," and held him while a bunch of dudes got out. My friend Ivan got into the driver's seat and started the car. Thankfully, it started right up without trouble, but I got a big bottle of liquor that hit the windshield, cracking the top cover. I saw some guys come from the right side of the car where we were standing and quickly went to the other side to let my friend have easy way into the back seat. As I turned the corner, I saw this massive looking guy coming up to me and barely had time to close the door and pull the block down. Dude was punching my window. My other friend wasn't so lucky since he actually got hit in the head and had barely made it in the car. He couldn't even close the door because one guy was grabbing his leg. All of this happened in the span of 6 seconds. I acted all out of instinct, and thankfully we all got in, and my friend stepped on the gas while zigzagging in case they would shoot at us. We all were scared shitless and wondered what had happened. As we got back to our neighborhood, my friends were bumming. Both of them knew their way around the fight and could hold their own. On the other hand, I am turning 30 next year and I still have never been in a fight. Thankfully, I still had some cash left and told them we should go buy some illegal beer at midnight and try my best to calm them down. Had calmed them down and convinced them not to go back. My friend Caesar had actually woken a dude up in the middle of the night with a phone call, and the man was ready to show up and throw down. After a few beers, a lot of talking, I convinced them it wasn't worth it and just to let the night in. I got home, my parents never found out, and just fell asleep. The next 2 days, my friend Ivan called me and told me that the girl's ex-boyfriend was actually a lead gang member, a gang known for beating the hell out of people and dropping them in water canals around the city. My heart dropped out of my chest. We have been seconds away from getting beat down and maybe killed by a bunch of thugs for a goddamn date. If it wasn't for our quick reaction, her backing them up a bit, and something outside this realm that wanted us to get away, we might not have made it. To this day, I still stay awake at nights thinking of how fast and out of nowhere situations like this can present themselves in your life. How many times have we avoided critical danger? All I can say is trust your gut and your instincts. In the end, it all happens so fast, it's all you have. P.S. Type this out really fast, something. I went on a Tinder date some time ago while I was adjusting to a new city I had moved to. I didn't really know anybody there, so I used some online dating apps to see the dating scene around town. I landed one from a girl that seemed just like an artiste, hippie type of girl. We had a few exchanges through the Tinder app and then decided to meet up for a drink. I picked her up at her house and she greeted me at the door and gave me a hug. She said the name of a local bar she wanted to go to for us to chat and get to know each other. I told her I would drive and proceeded to my car. The first red flag I noticed was when I walked to my car and opened the door, she had just followed me to the driver's side and was standing behind me, staring. I looked at her blankly for about 15 seconds and asked her if she was going to get in. She said, sure, I would love to. I went the long way to the passenger side around the back of the car. Since I had just met the girl, I figured she had just maybe smoked some weed or something, as I had got to the vibe she was a bit of a stoner. As I was driving to the bar, she talked in a very low voice, almost as if she was trying to whisper. I am not hard of hearing or anything, but I had to ask her to repeat herself several times just so I could make out the full sentences she was saying. When we got to the bar, I made sure we got a seat closer to the back, away from most people, just so I could have a little quiet in order to hear her. The conversations honestly carried out on as normal from this point, and it was actually a fun time for the time being. We talked about different things we were interested in, and she did not recreationally use weed and a few other tripping substances like shrooms and such. I'm not much of a fan of these, but it's at least made me relax in the back of my mind to think maybe she was just high off marijuana, and that rationally explains some of the out there behavior. Granted, I had a few drinks at this point, and so honestly, I'm not thinking straight. I asked her if she wanted to go to my place after drinks. She agreed. We got to my place. We had a few more drinks. That's when she started talking about her jewelry. This is where it gets weird. She told me her jewelry was her big secret and defined her. When I asked her why is it so important, she said, I'm actually Anastasius. I was never killed in Russia. My jewelry is my link to my past. It was hard for me to take that serious at this point with how much I drank, so I kind of challenged that statement using a little bit of I knew about history at this point. She freaked out and started yelling at the top of her lungs how I don't respect ancestors in history. And she got quiet and tiptoed right up to me and grabbed me by the neck. She then brought my face eye to eye with hers while still holding my neck. She says at this point, I am a shaman, and I will curse you. My ancestors have destroyed many people, and you do not respect that. You are from my oppressive ancestors, and they will be punished. And she puts her hand in a whiskey glass and made a cross on my face and kissed my forehead. At this point, I started to sober up a little, and I talked to her into calming down, telling her I was only joking. She slowly started getting back to me, and then she started talking about her cat fetish. She tells me she had a list of people who she changed to act like as cats. I'm not about judging people or any of their fetishes, so I listen, and she then tells me all the things she does to them and starts acting like a cat in my living room. If she had not yelled at me earlier on, I might have almost been turned on by it. My red flags in my head were tingling like crazy at this point, so I just listened and tried not to set her off. She noticed sage on my kitchen counter and asked me to let her light it and bless the house. Side note, I use sage to make my house smell better because it's occasionally kind of a ritual like I like to do. But it's mine and my own, something I take very personally and like to do myself. I tell her no, she can't light it and that it's my thing to do on my own. She then freaks out, telling me I am a horrible human being, screaming all over the place, and I tell her I can take her home now, and she runs to the door and goes outside. As I get outside, she's screaming at the top of her lungs that I'm a horrible person, I should go die. I tell her she can walk herself home then. I go back into my place, lock the door. She then starts banging on the door hard, and in about 10 minutes, she's saying she left her phone in there. I grab her phone off the kitchen thing and I open the door and hand it to her, and then she tries to barge inside. I block her with my forearm. She then acts like she's about to punch me. I hold my ground and tell her she's not coming in. She screams and she wanted the whiskey bottle we were drinking from. I told her, hell no, because I paid for the damn thing. I slammed the door at that point and locked it. I hear her bang on the door for a minute. I didn't hear her footsteps when I started walking outside to see if she was still hanging around. I didn't see her, nor did I ever see her again after that. I know this is probably not the scariest encounter ever, but for the next few nights, I was creeped out, always walking around the area I lived to make sure she wasn't hanging around. I honestly hope she's okay wherever she is, but I hope to never see her again.